Hello everyone, and thank you for coming to our webinar, logging in and signing in. Hopefully you're on your iPhone or your iPad or some other device. Today we're going to be discussing students' view on living on a budget. So today we have here several of different people who attend Cal State University of Northridge and who will be sharing their experience about budgeting. So for our agenda, we're going to focus on introducing these fellow matadors, and then we'll jump straight into the questions. I'll give you all some budgeting tips, and then we'll answer any questions that you may have. Okay? Okay, I'm the moderator, and my name is Trey Thompson. I work with financial literacy. And here we have Jessica.
Hi.
We have Al Wayne right here.
Hello.
Here's Leo.
Hey.
And of course, Amber.
Hello.
Okay. So we're going to get started, and we're going to start with the question, with our first question. We're going to jump straight into it because of the short of time. Okay, Alwyn, why is it important for students to budget?
It's important for students to budget their money because for one, you don't want to be broke. And second of all, you also want to make sure that you have enough money for next semester and for your future in case rainy days happen. You have money to suffice.
Okay. Jessica, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, just like he said, I do think that it's important to budget because some of us do have bills, so we have to make sure that that's paid. Also, in case of emergencies, you always have that side of money to just help you out.
Okay. Amber, why is it important for students to budget their money?
So echoing what they said, but also it's a great practice for real world, like the real world after we graduate. It's also a great practice for to gain healthy spending habits. So that you have that during college, and you can make your mistakes there before things get serious, even though it is kind of serious as well in college. And also, so you're not stressed about where your money's coming from, so you're safe each month when you get paid.
Okay, Leo, do you have any advice to add?
I think it's important because we could apply it later on in the future, such as emergencies. Later on when we actually need them. But yeah, other than that.
Okay. All right, so we're going to go to question 2. For question 2, can you share your current strategy for budgeting? And we'll start with Leo.
Okay. What I usually do is I separate different type of savings accounts. So I use one for rent, one for food, other one for just personal spending, such as when I like to go shopping and whatnot, and gas, of course. So that's why I usually just separate saving accounts, and I prioritize each for specific type of spending. So, yeah.
Okay, that's awesome. That's a cool strategy right there. Amber, do you have a current strategy for budgeting your money?
Well, currently, at the end of the month, I have a list of things I need to I set aside of money because I like bills and expenses that I need to pay in the beginning of the month. So those are things that I try to make sure I pay in the beginning of the month, and then after I try to save as much money as I can. That's kind of what I do now.
Okay, that's awesome. Jessica?
Well, kind of the same thing as them. I do set aside money for things like gas, food, and make sure that I have enough for that for the whole month, and then the rest I like to transfer to my savings, just so I can have a couple $100 every month to put in my savings.
That's awesome. So what would you say is the percentage of your paycheck that you're currently putting to your savings?
I usually put $300 out of my paycheck into my savings every month.
Okay, that's awesome. And Alwyn, we'll touch on savings a little bit more further in our questions also. But Alwyn, can you share your current strategy for budgeting?
At the beginning of the month, I set aside money as well for my phone bill and other expenses ready to be paid, such as housing. Also, and money that I need for groceries as well. And I put money in my savings account. And I also have a separate account for other expenses from my childhood that I leave that alone until I get older. But I have an account for my college expenses.
That's awesome. So it sounds like you have an account in case you're maybe interested in a master's program or or if you just need to live off of after you graduate. That's pretty encouraging to hear. Okay, so now we're going to move on to question 3. Question 3, how often do you review your budget? And of course, is it hard to stick with? We'll start with Al Wayne.
I review my budgeting almost every 2 weeks, just to make sure that I'm spending the correct amount of money and saving as well. Sometimes it can be a little hard because there's some times where my eyes are larger than my pockets. But I do try my best to stick with my budget just so that I don't have any repercussions after.
Okay. Jessica?
I think I review my budget like pretty much like before I'm gonna buy something. I take out like my Bank of America app and I'm just looking at it, making sure that I stay within my budget. And I do have to admit that it is really hard, especially because I'm a girl and I love shopping, and or friends want to go out to eat or something, so it is really hard to stay within my means.
Okay. So what are some of the things that you try to do to stay away from getting invites from friends, eating out all the time?
I'm just like, do you want to come over? I'll make something.
Yes, we got to start having some times where we can. Yes, exactly. You know, have someone bring the chicken and another person bring the cornbread. Okay, Amber.
So like she said, I check it before I make a purchase. But one cool like option that my bank uses, we have an app like she said. But like it texts me like every time I make a purchase, so it gives me my balance and like how much I spent, just in case anything's like fraudulent, but it usually isn't. It's me. But so that's really cool, and like the cool feature. So I know like if I'm not frequently checking, at least it's alerting me if I'm at a certain amount. And it is, like she said, extremely hard because sometimes I'll get paid more than I usually do, or I have extra like money instead of saving. I'm like, I want to go shopping, or I want to go out to eat more. So it's extremely hard when it gets that way, but I think it's easier now that you learn the hard way to say no and to fix those mistakes.
Okay, that's awesome. Leo?
I think it's a daily thing, to be honest with you, because, you know, when I'm on campus or I go out, of course, you know, to go buy food for the week, or, you know, when I'm on campus, I usually have to get, you know, something to drink or whatnot, and I always have to, you know, reduce, you know, a specific amount of how much I need to spend, of course. And is it hard to stick with? Yes and no, because, you know, I also have, you know, the cool little text message alert thing that tells me, you know, how much I need to spend, or how much I could spend, or how much I have left over, or whatever. It's not as bad, but yeah.
Okay, that's awesome. I would agree. I think, you know, checking your app and checking your budget frequently can help you stay within those lines of your budget, especially when you have a goal you want to save for. Okay? So we're going to go on and we're going to answer any questions right now. So if any of the people who are on our chat feature have any questions, please go ahead and ask them right now.
As we are waiting for questions, I don't see any here in the chat at this time. But if they do, we'll hopefully try to answer any of those questions at the end.
Okay. All right. Looks like there's no questions right now. We're going to go on to question 4. Are you currently saving? Yes, I said saving. If so, how do you save? We'll start with Leo.
Okay. Yes, I am currently saving as of now. So every time I receive my paycheck, I usually take about 20% of my paycheck and put it into my savings account. So as I said earlier, I have different type of accounts where, you know, like right now I'm trying to save up for a car. Mm-hmm. And so that 20% goes to my car, and the rest goes to, you know, I split it up into rent, you know, bills, food, and etc.
Okay.
And yeah.
That's awesome. Amber?
I am currently saving, and my total attempts throughout my college term here, I've tried my best to save, and haven't been as successful as I anticipated to. However, I am saving now because I'm graduating soon, and I really want to go on vacation in the summer. So I think having that ending goal and like having like an anticipated something, I'm working towards that. Whereas in the past, I've like, oh, I'm gonna save because I want to save money for the future. It's just really a struggle for myself. But I am saving, and every time I do get paid, I set aside at least half of that paycheck or more if I'm able to have cushion room with my expenses as of now. So hopefully I'll be able to have enough by the end of the school year to go on vacation.
That's awesome. I wish I was able to save 50% of my income right now. I think we all wish we were able to. But that's very encouraging to hear as well. Jessica, are you currently saving?
I am currently saving because I do want to move out of my parents' house. So lately what I've been doing is that every time I get a check, like I said before, I do set aside like $300 for the month just to put in my savings, and the rest I just put in my checkings. But for example, if it's something like really big, like, oh, I get my financial aid, I don't trust myself with that money. So like I just transfer it to my mom's account, and I'm like, okay, take care of it, and I'll ask for it later, and then she'll just like transfer it back to my account.
That's awesome. That's you're giving the opportunity to have friends or family to hold you accountable.
Yeah.
Definitely you have to trust that person.
Yeah, definitely.
With a large sum of money like that. Let's hope. And one day you'll make that transition into moving on your own, having your own apartment, and then you can get that money back and manage it successfully. Very awesome. Alwayne, are you currently saving?
Yes, I am. I was actually able to set aside money to buy a plane ticket to go to Georgia over the summer, and so I saved for that. But now I'm saving for money, so when I go there, that I'll have money to spend. How do I save? I do not have a job, but the money that I do have left over from my parents giving to me every month, I do set it aside in my savings account, and any money that I have left over and that people give me, from church or whatever, that's set aside as well.
That's awesome. Yes, some of us are very fortunate to have parents and other people, give us allowance or different sources of income. Some of you out there might have rental property, but that's another discussion. Okay, so we're going to finish off with our last question, question 5. Do you have any advice to students who are currently struggling with their budgets? We'll start with Alwayne.
Okay. My advice is that if you have a burning desire to buy what you want, and it's most likely going to cost you a lot, and leave you in a deficit, I would say don't buy it. Because there was an experience where I kept buying, and I kid you not, I only had like $9.75 in my account, and that was a really, really bad toll. So I learned from my lessons, and I learned to save more than I spend, make sure that you budget correctly, and make sure you write down every time you spend and how much you spend per month, and keep track of that so you'll be able to allocate your money and your funds correctly.
Okay, some great advice. Jessica?
I do have some advice. I think my main one would just to be like to live within your means. So like live like a college student. Like don't try to go out and like buy the newest Michael Kors thing or like iPads as soon as you get your paycheck. You can do that later as soon as like you're successful, you're stable and everything. And another one would be to stay in to eat. I mean, it's really expensive to be eating outside all the time. Like it does like accumulate. So I would just say stay in and then just think about the future and what you want to, your expenses in the future and how you need to like take care of it, be responsible for them.
That's awesome. Some great advice. Amber, do you have any advice for us?
Yeah, so echoing everything that she said, that was awesome. I also just want to encourage everyone to say that like learning how to budget isn't going to happen like in a day. Like to just to like figure out your options. Like don't expect to wake up tomorrow expecting like all your money's going to be safe in a safe place. Like experiment and like do some research to see the way that will be effective for you. Because like maybe your friend's way of budgeting isn't the way that works for you, so you can figure out different options and play around with those. As well as like hanging around with friends who also support you in your like budgeting struggles, so you're not going out every weekend because your friend has money or your friends are feeding into your struggles. Like well, let's go out to eat every day, or let's go and let's buy the new iPhone or something. So to like hang around with people who are all like trying to be in the same like budgeting scheme. And then yeah, be responsible. So I should think about that. And as well as cutting back on little things like going out to eat or having a movie night at the movies, and maybe staying in like those little expenses add up. So just to look at those small expenses because they make a difference as well.
That's awesome. I like when you what you said about your friends. So that sphere of influence is very important. If you have friends who, you know, like to go out every weekend and they're your close friends, then they're going to force you in a way or peer pressure you into, you know, going out, into shopping, into buying new clothes and different things like that. So sometimes that calls for new friends or new activities. So if you don't want new friends, then you got to say, hey, well, let's have a movie night at my house. You know, let's go to Redbox. You know, let's go to the park. Let's go to the beach. There's other things to do rather than a party or rather than, you know, expensive things out there like Disneyland. You know, so those things get very expensive. Okay, Leo, finish us off with a little advice.
I think it's okay to be picky, to be honest with you, because like, you know, sometimes I have friends that, you know, need a ride, so I always ask, you know, for gas money because, you know, nowadays it's really tough. So I think you should be picky. I actually live on campus, and if you live near your college, I advise you to stay at home, take advantage of, you know, your resources around the house, like, you know, your parents cooking for you, or no rent or anything. But other than that, I feel like, you know, if you really want something, you like go out there and go for it, you know, work for it, be able to budget, because, you know, like I said earlier, you know, you're able to use it in the future, you know, when you're older as an adult, or you want to, you know, start a family, you know, you got to be able to use those, you know, lifelong, you know, learning experience, you know, as budgeting. But other than that, yeah, I think that's good.
That's awesome. Yes. For some of you who are transfer students, you have the good end of the stick. Let's just say that. Some of us at the dorms, the rent and things is very expensive. Very expensive. Okay, so we're going to transition into a few budgeting tips before I let you all leave. And the first, I see one that we already covered, and it's treat eating out as a luxury. And Jessica touched on that one quite a bit. Amber touched on that one a little bit as well. When you're out with your friends, well, that's a luxury. You know, within your budget, are you able to afford a luxury right now? And that breaks it down to the needs and wants. You know, is that a want or is that a need? And a need is necessary for you to survive. So I don't think, you know, PF Chang's, you know, the expensive price that they have, you know, is a need. You might want to go down to a lower scale like Panda Express. But sometimes we can, you know, we can look forward to some of those things, but definitely we want to make sure that we keep it in the back of our head that eating out all the time is a luxury. Okay? So one of the tips that I had a chance to really focus on is you know, setting up a recurring transfer and automatic payments. So let me break that down for you. The recurring transfers are when your money comes to your bank account, you automatically, on a set date, money goes into your different accounts. Okay? So you set up through online, or you went into the branch and you said, I want $100 every month to go from my checking account to my savings account. And it automatically does that duty for you. The system automatically takes care of it online for you. So I have that feature on my account, and it's very beneficial. You know, sometimes I look at my account and, whoa, what happened? It went down. But it was just the transfer. And most likely I'll keep it over there because that is my savings account. I didn't spend it, but I want to make sure that I'm putting money away for the future. And recently I just got a new job, so of course with that, you want to increase that transfer, okay? And also we have the automatic payments. With automatic payments for your account, those are, for example, your water bill, your phone bill. When you have enough money in the bank, you want to make sure that you're able to pay for all those things right away. Because if you become late, then you'll have fees, right? So what I do and what others do is they set up an automatic payment on their account so they can pay for their credit card, so they can pay for their rent even. And it's pretty cool because you can even send checks through your banking platform as well. So that's a cool feature that you might want to look into further. You can go to the branch, you know, or the credit union that you have your money in and talk to them further to set that up. Also, we have lower your variable expenses. Yes, variable expenses. So your variable expenses are the expenses that change when they're due or change in the amount of what they cost, such as gas, such as food, right? So when we're budgeting and we find ourselves in a bind, first thing we want to go to is lowering some of those expenses that we might not need as often as we think. And I say gas because sometimes we go back home and we can save a trip. You know, we can go every month instead of every 2 weeks or every week to see our parents. And that's you know, you want to talk to your parents about that first, you know, because sometimes you might be getting income or allowance from them and they would like to see you, okay? Other things we want to focus on is carpool if you can. Be sure to, you know, hey, can I get a ride? Hey, we're going to the same destination. Hey, you're going to school? Let's put our schedule together and we can carpool. We'll save a lot of money that way as well. And the last thing I want to focus on is checking your banking statements. So when you check your bank statements, you're not just looking at, oh yeah, this is nice, and you throw it away. No. And most of us receive our banking statements online now. So the first thing you want to do is sign into your bank, you know, about once a month or every 2 weeks, and to make sure all those transactions are yours. Because at different points in your life, there might have been a situation where you were out to eat and they accidentally put $200 for a tip. Yes, for a tip. So you want to make sure that they have the correct amount, $2, not $200, in case you were out to eat, okay? And for a tip, by the way, that's you double the tax in most situations. So once you start budgeting, you'll be able to afford that tip and afford eating out, which is a luxury, okay? And with that being said, I want to thank you all for your participation in our webinar. Thank you, Al Wayne. Thank you, Jessica. Thank you, Amber. And thank you, Leo.